Hi guys, hopefully your paper towel lab is almost near completion. You have your data complete, you've calculated averages, you have graphed your data, and there's one small thing left. Do you know what it is? If you said write a conclusion, you are correct. So that's what this video is. It's to show you how to write your conclusion to your lab. So here's my MacBook, and what I would like for you to do is to go to your Google Drive. Recall that we created a folder called 6th grade science. You'll want to click into that, and you will have a document in there. I just created a fake file to show you. But in your 6th grade science file, you're going to click a new document. Yours is down in the lower right corner. It's that little blue plus, but since I'm on a MacBook, mine looks a little different. I'm going to create a new Google Doc. It will ask you to give your document a name. You can just simply call it Paper Towel Lab Conclusion. Yours will kind of prompt you to do that. Okay, once again, I'm going to enlarge my font just so you can see it on the camera really well. You should just keep your font at whatever the default is, but I'm going to make mine just a little bit bigger. I think I might even go a little bigger than that so you can see. Okay, first thing I would like for you to do is to type your first and last name. Kind of pause a second, give you a chance to type your name. If at any time I move too fast, just simply pause the video. Underneath that, if you don't mind, to put your period number, period 1, 2, 5, or 7. I'm going to put period 7. And then we're going to write paper towel lab conclusion. I'll kind of wait here for you to catch up. So I can enlarge that a little bit. There you go. Okay, remember the purpose of your conclusion is, for one, you should explain whether your hypothesis was proved to be correct or if it was disproved. So you'll have to look back at your actual data table to determine that. So I have some fake data here to take a look at, and I'm going to pretend that with this fake data that I predicted that Bounty would absorb the most drops of water. So when I look at this, was my hypothesis proved or was it disproved? Okay, so you should look at the averages. So for Bounty, it was 143.3 drops. Scott was 85.6 drops. Scott's a loser. And Total Home was 132.6 drops. So yeah, Bounty in this case did hold the most droplets of water on average. Okay, so I'm going to click back to my actual document, and my first sentence will say something like this: my hypothesis was, and you will either type the word proved or you would type disproved. You'll have to choose one or the other. Was proved in this experiment. Okay. So determine whether yours was proved or disproved. And my second sentence, I'm going to explain which paper towel brand did hold the most droplets of water. And if you recall, mine was Bounty. So I'll say Bounty held the most droplets of water with an average of, in this case, I'm going to look back at my data, and Bounty was 143.3 for me. Your number will be different depending upon what your data was. So I'm going to put average of 143.3 droplets. next sentence. Whoops, I misspelled it. There we go. Then from there, what do you think should go next? I think we should explain how Total Home did and how Scott did. So looking back at my data, let's see which one was second most absorbent. It was Total Home, okay, with 132.6 drops. So I would say something like let's see, we can go Scott was second most absorbent with, I forgot what I said, 132.6 droplets. Okay, yours will not look exactly like mine. You'll have to look at your data. And then my least absorbent was Scott with 85.6. The least absorbent, I can't type here, paper towel was Scott with 85.6. Okay, 85.6 droplets. Okay, let me reread what I have so far. My hypothesis was proved in this experiment. Bounty held the most droplets of water with an average of 143 droplets. Scott was second most absorbent with 132.6 droplets. The least absorbent paper towel was Scott with 85.6 droplets. So far, sounds good. So from here, I want to see if I have any patterns or trends. Well, the one thing I do notice with my particular data is that Bounty and Total Home really were very similar, very comparable brands. Not a lot of difference. And Scott was definitely the worst paper towel. So I kind of want to explain that. So I'm going to say something like Bounty and Total Home were very similar towels. There, I guess I can just say that. That would probably work. And then I might also want to say if there were any sources of error. If your data happens to be kind of like all over the place, and if you feel your data is not very reliable, which some of you probably have data that is not very reliable, then in your conclusion, that's where you want to explain that. So my data was very reliable. However, if my data was not very reliable, I would want to state that. I would say something like, my data does not appear to be very reliable because the number of droplets are very inconsistent, maybe something like that. And you could go on to explain where some of your sources of error might have occurred. Some sources of error might be, and then you can kind of explain. Maybe you didn't hold the dropper in the same place every single time. Maybe that hand kind of moved up, kind of moved down. You could explain that. Maybe you lost track of the number of droplets. It kind of seemed like maybe a few groups maybe lost track. Maybe some of you kind of got caught by the bell and you started rushing through the experiment, and that might have led to some mistakes or mishaps. So think about where some errors might have occurred and how that might explain how your data might not be very reliable. Make sure you have a well-developed paragraph when you are done, and I hope to see a conclusion that is well thought out. And I think that's it. Have a good one.